She wasn't looking for love that night. She wasn't even looking at him. Beat. But the moment she walked through her apartment door, heart still racing, bag dropped on the table. Everything she thought she knew about that arrogant, smooth-talking stranger completely shattered. Oh, but wait. We need to back up. Because what she found inside that bag, nobody was supposed to see that. Friday night, a storm-delayed flight. An elite airport lounge packed with irritated, overtired, high society passengers, all trapped, all restless, all running out of patience. Jasmine Carter, international photographer, woman who had photographed 31 countries and dodged the advances of men on 4 continents, was not in the mood. Not even slightly. And then he walked in. Now listen, Jasmine had a type she avoided, like airport food poisoning. Charming. Polished. Too confident. The kind of man who had clearly never been told no and treated it like a personal challenge when he finally was. She spotted him from across the lounge and did what any self-respecting woman with experience and standards would do. She looked away. Immediately. But here's the thing about Darius Knight that Jasmine could not possibly have known yet. And this is the part that is going to stay with you. That man, sitting across from her in that lounge, looking every inch like the player she had already decided he was carrying something in that bag that no one had ever seen. Something so private, so deeply tender, that when it was finally discovered, it didn't just surprise her. It broke her wide open. But before we get there, before the bag swap, before the viral post, before the confrontation in the park and the gala that changed everything, we have to start exactly where this story begins. In that lounge. In that storm. The moment Jasmine Carter looked at Darius Knight and decided, with absolute certainty, that she already knew everything she needed to know about him. She was wrong. And the universe was about to make sure she found out. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now. 57 a.m. The second Jasmine dropped onto her couch, she was already venting. The delay. The storm. The audacity of that man in the lounge. She replayed every word, every smirk, every unbothered second of his existence, and she was done with all of it. She just wanted her camera. She reached down, unzipped the bag, and stopped. Everything inside was wrong. No camera body. No prime lenses. No client memory cards worth more than her rent. Just a sleek corporate laptop, a folded stack of acquisition documents, and Chloe was already pulling things out before Jasmine could even process the panic rising in her chest. Her entire career was flying somewhere over this city in a stranger's bag. And his entire business empire was sitting on her living room table. Chloe froze. Jasmine. Not the panicked kind of freeze. The other kind. The kind that means you need to see this. At the very bottom of the bag, tucked underneath the corporate documents like something deliberately hidden from the world, was a stack of handwritten letters. Actual pen on paper, sealed with care, handwritten love letters. In 2026. Chloe pulled one open before Jasmine could object. And then she started reading. To my dear future wife, as I build this empire, every single achievement feels hollow without you. I am working every day to become a man worthy of you. A man who will love you with everything he has. The room went completely quiet. Chloe turned the envelope over slowly, and there it was. Small, deliberate, almost shy. A hand-drawn heart. Jasmine didn't move. Because the man she had publicly called arrogant, shallow, and impossible, the man she had dismissed in 30 seconds flat, had been sitting across from her in that lounge quietly carrying this. A love letter. To a woman he hadn't even met yet. Chloe whispered the name printed on the corporate documents. Darius Knight. And just like that, every wall Jasmine had spent years building developed a crack so deep she could feel it. But here's what she didn't know yet. Those letters? That wasn't even the most shocking thing in that bag. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Darius Knight was losing his mind. Not because of the bag. Not entirely. Because inside that bag was a corporate merger strategy worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Confidential. Sensitive. Due to his board of directors by 9 o'clock the next morning. Gone. In a stranger's hands. He was pacing his penthouse like a caged man, floor to ceiling windows, rain still hammering the city below, running through every possible way this night could destroy everything he had spent years building. But here is what stopped him mid-pace. Her. Because even in full crisis mode, even with his entire career dangling by a thread, he could not stop thinking about the woman from the lounge. He told his friend exactly that. And his friend looked at him like he had completely lost it. Maybe he had. Because Darius Knight, the man who had everything, was standing in a multi-million-dollar penthouse, and the only thing he actually wanted was to find a woman who hadn't even given him her name. His friend found a business card tucked inside the bag pocket. Jasmine Carter. International photographer. And, just like that, the plan shifted. They would go to her gallery exhibition at the Arts Plaza first thing in the morning. Ask around quietly. Find her. Swap the bags. Simple. But if that didn't work? His friend said it casually, like it was nothing. We blast her face on social media. Darius hesitated for exactly 1 second. Then nodded. He had no idea that decision, that one careless, desperate nod, was about to pour gasoline on everything. Stay with me. The next morning, Darius had one mission. Find the woman. Get the laptop. Save the deal. Simple enough, right? He and his friend hit the arts district early, upscale coffee shops, gallery fronts, boutique studios. And it took exactly one stop. One barista. One sentence. Oh, that's Jasmine Carter. World-renowned photographer. She's in here all the time. Just like that, the mystery woman had a name. And that should have been the end of it. Find her, call her, swap the bags, move on. But Darius's friend was not built for patience. While Darius was still processing, his friend had already pulled the professional headshot from the portfolio card inside the bag and uploaded it. Instagram. TikTok. Every local city blog he could tag. Jasmine's face. Darius's phone number. Caption reading like a missing persons bulletin. Darius saw it and went quiet. Not because it was wrong. Because deep down, he wasn't entirely sure he wanted it to stop. 2 hours later, the post was everywhere. Jasmine was sitting at a bakery with Chloe, mid-laugh, mid-croissant, when her phone exploded. The moment she saw it, the laugh died instantly. Her own face. Plastered across the internet. Like a wanted poster. Like she was the problem. She called him before Chloe could even finish reading the caption. And he picked up cool as still water. That alone made it worse. She came in hot, furious, sharp, every word a blade, and he met her with that same unbothered smirk she could feel through the phone. He told her if she had just been polite from the beginning, none of this would have happened. The audacity. She told him she wanted her bag, her gear, her memory cards. Immediately. He told her to ask nicely. The call ended. Jasmine sat there, phone face down on the table, chest heaving, Chloe watching her with wide eyes. And here is the part that would have made her absolutely furious if she knew. While she was raging across town, Darius was sitting in his penthouse, reading her name again. Jasmine Carter. Quietly smiling. Show more. For 03 a.m. She told herself she wasn't nervous. She lied. Jasmine stood at the park entrance at exactly 10:58 a.m., camera bag strap gripped in both hands, rehearsing every sharp thing she planned to say. She had the whole conversation mapped out. Controlled. Professional. Cold. And then he walked up. And, just like that, every rehearsed line evaporated. Because Darius Knight in a tailored airport blazer was one thing. Darius Knight in casual clothes, sunlight catching his jawline, moving like he owned every sidewalk he ever touched. That was something entirely different. She recovered fast. She always did. She thrust his laptop bag into his chest before he even opened his mouth. Everything is exactly how you left it. She made sure of that. What she did not say, what she would never say out loud, was that she had spent 20 minutes the night before reading those letters again, just to make sure they were all still there. Obviously. And Darius? He checked her gear with the kind of careful, unhurried attention that made her deeply, irrationally annoyed. Because he wasn't supposed to be careful. He was supposed to be careless. Shallow. Exactly what she decided he was in that lounge. When he smirked and said her patience was surprisingly low for an international photographer, she felt it land somewhere it had absolutely no business landing. She fired back anyway. But here is what the camera would have caught if anyone had been watching. The half second before Jasmine's eyes went cold again, she almost smiled. Almost. They traded one last look. Ice on the surface. Something else underneath. Then they both turned and walked away, two people completely convinced that was the end. No second chapter. No next time. Done. Finished. Except, Jasmine got exactly 11 steps away before she slowed down. Not because she forgot something. Not because she wanted to look back. But because something in her chest felt strangely, inexplicably heavier than it did when she arrived. She kept walking. But she felt it the entire way home. And she had absolutely no idea that in less than 7 days, fate was going to put them back in the same room, and this time, there would be no easy exit. Here is the thing about fate. It does not ask for your permission. 1 week after their park confrontation, 1 week after Jasmine told herself she was completely done with Darius Knight, her phone rang with a booking that would pay her mortgage for 3 months. She said yes before she even heard the address. Big mistake. Because the moment her car pulled through those iron gates and she saw that sprawling estate lit up like a dream against the evening sky, something in her stomach dropped. She knew this house. Not the building. The energy. And then she walked through the front door. And there he was. Darius. In his own home. Surrounded by his family. Looking nothing like the arrogant man from the lounge, and everything like someone she had completely misjudged. Jasmine Carter did the only thing a professional could do. She lifted her camera. And she got to work. But Darius had already seen her. And instead of walking over, instead of making it awkward, he did something she never expected. He stepped back. Into the shadows. And he watched. Not in a creepy way. In the way a man watches something that genuinely surprises him. Like he was trying to figure out who she actually was when nobody was performing. And what he saw broke every assumption he had built about her. Because Jasmine Carter moved through that estate like she belonged there, not because of arrogance, but because of grace. She helped an elderly guest find her seat without being asked. She laughed, genuinely laughed, with the catering staff. She treated the house chef like he was the most important person in the room. Darius could not look away. And then it happened. His mother, the woman who had turned down 3 women he had previously brought home without a second thought, walked straight toward Jasmine with the warmest smile he had seen on her face in years. They talked for 20 minutes. 20. Darius watched his mother touch Jasmine's arm the way she only touched people she had already decided she loved. And when his mother finally pulled him aside, her eyes were bright in a way that made his chest tighten. She told him, find a woman exactly like that one. Darius looked across the room at Jasmine, completely unaware she was being discussed, laughing at something the private chef had said. And something shifted inside him. Permanently. But what he didn't know yet was that Jasmine was hiding something too. The gala was winding down. Guests were saying their goodbyes. Glasses were being cleared. The music had softened to almost nothing. And Jasmine, not knowing she was being watched, slipped out to the glass terrace alone. Darius saw her go. He told himself he was just getting some air. He was lying to himself. He stayed in the shadows just far enough back that she couldn't see him. Close enough that he could hear every word. And what he heard stopped him completely. She wasn't on a business call. She wasn't networking. She wasn't performing the version of herself that belonged to this world of estates and galas and designer everything. She was talking to her father. Voice soft. Completely unguarded. The kind of voice a person only uses when they feel completely safe. She told him the shoot went beautifully. She told him the photos were going to be stunning. And then, quietly, with a tiredness that had nothing to do with exhaustion, she said she missed home. Not the glamour. Not the bookings. Not the international flights and the gallery exhibitions. Home. Family dinners. The ordinary, irreplaceable warmth of people who loved her for no reason other than that she was theirs. Darius stood in that shadow for a long moment after she hung up. Because that was the thing he had been writing letters about for years. Not a woman who needed his world. A woman who already had her own and still chose people over everything. He walked back inside. And he made a decision. The next morning, Jasmine was moving through the departure terminal, camera bag on one shoulder, coffee in hand, already mentally in work mode, when she turned around and saw him. Standing there. No blazer. No Rolex on display. No performance. Just Darius. Looking at her like he had something important to say and was terrified of saying it wrong. She almost dropped her coffee. He told her his mother hadn't stopped talking about her. She laughed genuinely and said his mother was lovely. And then he said the thing that cracked her armor completely open. He told her he had heard her on the terrace. He told her he had spent years playing a character because vulnerability felt like a risk he couldn't afford. And then he asked her quietly, no smirk, no performance, to give him one chance when she returned. Jasmine looked at him, and in that moment, she wasn't thinking about the lounge, or the viral post, or the park confrontation. She was thinking about handwritten letters at the bottom of a bag. Words written for a woman he hadn't even met yet. Words that sounded exactly like what he had just said to her face. She said yes, but what she didn't tell him was that she had read every single one of those letters. Every word. She almost didn't go. That morning, standing in front of her mirror, bags half unpacked from her international trip, Jasmine told herself she was tired. That she needed rest. That one date with Darius Knight was not worth the emotional risk. She almost called to cancel. Almost. But something stopped her. And she could not explain what. When his car pulled up, no driver, no entourage, just him, she felt something loosen in her chest that she had kept locked tight for a very long time. He didn't take her somewhere flashy. No rooftop restaurant. No paparazzi corners. No performance. He took her to a botanical garden. Quiet. Sun-drenched. Completely private. And under the biggest oak tree she had ever seen in her life, he had already set everything up. Simple food. Soft music from a small speaker. 2 glasses. Jasmine looked at the setup and felt her walls crack. Just slightly. They laughed for 2 hours straight. About the lounge. About the bag. About the viral post that had somehow made them both briefly famous in the worst way possible. She laughed so hard her cheeks hurt. And then, the atmosphere shifted. The way it does when something real is about to happen. Darius got quiet. The good kind of quiet. The kind that means someone is about to show you something they have never shown anyone. He reached into his pocket. And the moment Jasmine saw what he was holding, her breath left her body completely. The letters. His letters. The ones she had read at midnight on her living room floor, while Chloe whispered the words aloud, and she sat there pretending she wasn't completely undone by them. He had brought them here. For her. He told her he had never shown them to a single person. Not his mother. Not his best friend. Not anyone. And then, slowly, deliberately, holding her hand like it was something precious, he read one to her. Directly. Looking straight into her eyes. Every word landing somewhere so deep inside her chest that she couldn't breathe properly. By the time he finished, her eyes were full. Not because the words were perfect, but because she recognized them. She had read them alone in the dark, heart-pounding, pretending they meant nothing. And now here he was reading them to her like he had written them knowing she was coming. She called him impossible. He smiled against her lips and told her he was never letting go. And Jasmine Carter, who had guarded her heart across 31 countries, finally stopped running. I need to know what you think. Because this one hit different and you know it. Drop a comment right now. Were you Team Jasmine from the beginning, or did Darius have you the moment he pulled out those letters? If this story moved something in you, and I think it did, smash that like button right now. It takes 1 second and it means everything to this channel. And if you are not subscribed yet, what are you even doing? Hit that subscribe button. Because stories like this one, we do this every single day. You do not want to miss what is coming next. Let's go.